Well, we are here, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, fresh from a run on the treadmill. Promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, news breaking overnight that Floyd Schofield is out of his fight on Saturday with Shakur Stevenson. What can you tell us? What is the latest you know?
Really, I mean, I arrived yesterday, turned up to the grand arrivals and was pulled to one side to let me know that Floyd Schofield was in hospital. All kinds of wild accusations out there from him and his team, but was in hospital. I think he said he'd been poisoned or whatever. I don't know, I read something on the internet. Ultimately, our conversations turned to the British Boxing Board of Control. I mean, you've seen the picture posted, I think, from Team Scofield. Obviously, he's in hospital. There's 3 days to go to the fight. The board are never going to let him fight in a million years. They have a responsibility to the fighter. It's a very dangerous sport. They're not going to let a kid that's in hospital, you know, all day on a Tuesday, and I believe overnight last night, fight a couple of days later when he's making weight. So we got a phone call late last night from the board to say they will not be permitting him to box, and the horrible search begins. You know, Tuesday night of fight week, you're in Saudi Arabia, you need to get someone here tomorrow, and you need to get someone here to fight Shakur Stevenson. You really need to get someone here from the rankings. You really need to get someone here that's credible. You need to get someone here that His Excellency is pleased with. You need to get someone here that Shakur's happy with, and that's basically anybody. And we turned our attention to 3 or 4 fighters, and up steps Josh Padley, 15-0, number 12 in the WBC, and also, more importantly, fresh off a massive win on Riyadh season against Mark Chamberlain, His Excellency's favourite. So shout out to His Excellency, to everybody that made it happen, and it was one of the great saves, to be honest with you. A huge opportunity in many ways for Josh Padley. He's on a plane, and away we go. We did get a little message from Josh Padley, so here's what he has to say.
Guys, don't worry, we're on his way. We're coming to cause chaos again.
Was there ever a danger of this fight being completely off for Shakur, like you say, this close?
Of course. I mean, you know, you need a fighter to complete the check weight today. Luckily, we have a British fighter who could do that in the UK, have all his medicals in order. Thankfully, Josh Padley did. Be ready, training and on weight. Thankfully, Josh Padley is. Ranked in the WBC. You know, I mean, there was a couple of other fighters that nearly got the call, but Josh was the one. He's British, gets a massive payday, coming off a big win already on Riyadh season. So look, he's a massive underdog, as was Floyd Schofield, to be honest with you. But, you know, I'm so happy with the job that the team done. You know, myself, Frank, Tom Dallas, Kevin Rooney. Like I said, this is one of the great saves, because at this stage, with a normal team, 99% of the time, you're going home, mate, you ain't fighting. And all the hard work has been wasted. And I was not going to let Shakur Stevenson down. We got his back and we delivered massively. And like I said, I'm pleased that Josh and Steffi and everybody gets that chance and gets that massive life-changing opportunity. And yeah, really pleased to see a pound-for-pound great in Shakur Stevenson still be fighting on Saturday.
How is he, mindset-wise, Shakur?
He said, I told you. He said, like, for the last 3-4 weeks, when Floyd Schofield didn't turn up to the press conference, he's been saying to me the whole time, he ain't fighting me. He won't fight me. And I said, no, look, you know, they've completed all the medicals. You know, obviously everybody signed up to BARDA. His flights are booked. And then when he touched down in Saudi, I actually text Shakur. I said, your boy's here. And he's like, And then last night when I saw him for the first time, I said, I told you. And at this stage, the fight wasn't off when I saw him yesterday. I said, no, I've spoke to Golden Boy, I think he's fine. He went, He went, he ain't fighting me. So I don't really know what's gone down. I mean, I'm sort of catching up with all this social media back and forth. Some wild things said, but Shakur's a little bit bemused by it all, really. He just wants to fight, and he never believed the fight would take place.
I think, yeah, in terms of the stuff that's been on social media in the last few hours, even today, they're talking about the truth will come to the light, that you're a liar as well. It's
all I know is that the kid was in hospital yesterday and the board pulled him out. So I'd love to know what I'm lying about. I mean, I've heard all these accusations, all these mates with his family and Shakur saying, I've never even met these people before. I mean, but all I can tell you is the kid went to hospital. the picture I've seen is him basically unconscious or asleep in hospital, or do you think the British Boxing Board of Control is going to allow him to fight? I mean, you know, this is a sport where, unfortunately, you've seen lately, this sport is extremely dangerous. And what, you're going to let a kid in hospital fight? I mean, no chance, no commission in the world. So I'm not the British Boxing Board of Control. I didn't make that decision, but of course it's the right one. But they were never going to fight anyway, in my opinion, at that stage. They had to do a check weight this morning. Stinks, but it is what it is.
In terms of the fight for Shakur, do you expect a bit of pent-up frustration? Obviously, of course, had the hand injury before the Cordina fight last year.
Look, he's, in my opinion, Shakur's top 5 pound for pound. He's fighting a guy that he's proved himself as British European level, right? The world stage is a massive step up for Josh Padley. But as you heard from that voice note, at least you've got a Brit coming in, will give it 110%, will go for it every single round. And listen, it may well play into Shakur's hands, and you know, but Shakur's now got to deal with all this shit going on, all the hard graft training for this style of fighter, all the bullshit on social media, and still do a job on Saturday. But that's the plan: do a job and just give us that Gervonta Davis fight. He's ready. There's no point mucking around in these fights. Lamont Roach, Kid Scofield, all these guys. Just stick them in together, but must do a job first on Saturday.
I'll take it. WBC #1, Andy Cruz, never popped into your mind this week.
Not in 3 days. I mean, you know, like there was a lot of fighters. I've had so many messages. I don't think people realised it was Saturday. Do you know what I mean? I'm still getting messages now. My boy's up for it. My boy's up for it. It's like, you know, let us know. It's like, mate, it's Wednesday today. The fight's on Saturday. You've got to be in Saudi today. So I'm happy with the pick. You know, I mean, a ranked fighter, Brit, coming off a good win, good, let him have the chance. But Shakur's got to be switched on.
I mentioned Andy Cruz there. He's been on social media posting pictures who he calls his son, Keyshawn Davis, obviously recently crowned world champion. Is that a fight you think we'll see this year?
Maybe at the end of the year. I do believe, honestly, that Keyshawn will fight Andy Cruz. I think he's a real fighter. And like, you know, he says, you know, I know I've lost 4-0, but I haven't really lost 4-0. It's like, you have actually. But the pros are different. The pros are different, and Keyshawn's been amazing. I'm a big fan. But I believe Andy Cruz beats him. And I believe that Keyshawn will want to avenge those defeats. And by the way, when you look at the options for Keyshawn Davis, who are they? Tell me a bigger fight than Andy Cruz. There's only 2. Shakur Stevenson, it's his mate, he ain't fighting him, and Tank. And he ain't fighting Tank this year. I think one more fight for Andy Cruz, let's make the fight.
What do you expect Vasily Lomachenko to do next?
Don't know really. I mean, I can't really see him fighting, to be honest with you. I mean, he's been out so long now. When was his last fight? George Kambosos? What was that, a year ago? Is his heart in it? I don't know. Probably retire.
Just back to this week then. Anthony Joshua going to be ringside. It's not often we see him sort of making trips like this, but he has done a little bit recently. He is going to on Saturday. Is that because the full attention, of course, is on the chief support, and I guess he wants to win?
I mean, it's because he's got commercial obligations.
Oh, fair enough.
AJ's not really.
I thought that was a better story.
No, but AJ, listen, he's not really. He doesn't like to go to the fights because he doesn't. It's not about him. That's why he's not like a clout chaser, or he's not fame hungry, or he's like, oh yeah, I want to get ringside, and you know, I want to work on the broadcast. He's got no interest. He'd rather watch it on his sofa. But he loves Saudi. He's part of Riyadh season. He's got, you know, a contract with DAZN. They want him to work the broadcast. He's got to do a job, and he should be around these kind of nights as well. But he still doesn't like to, like, you know. And there are every day 200 questions. What have the conversations been like about the next fight? None, not one. And they won't start till next week. And then we'll start planning his fight. We'll sit down with His Excellency out here and we'll plot the future. We're in, like, although he's going to fight in May, June, July, whatever it is, we're not like, and I know, like, people, they really lose their shit when I tell them, he's the main man of the division. Like, people go, he's not who. I said, no, trust me when I say, all the conversations with all the stakeholders, right? Riyadh season, broadcasters, sponsors. The number one heavyweight they're talking about is Anthony Joshua. And people will lose their shit when they just watch those 5 seconds back. Tough. It's reality, baby. AJ's still the man. And it bugs people that he lost, and you know, but he is. And everyone wants to know what. That's why I answer 400 questions a day. What's next for AJ? What's next for AJ? What's next is we'll be back. And we'll be back stronger than ever.
Dubois, Parker. I think two fighters, when you look at both of their losses to Joe Joyce, if you'd have said that a few years down the line they'd both be in this position fighting for the world heavyweight title, you might not have believed someone who said that. Based on everything that's happened since that, who are you edging towards?
On paper, Daniel Dubois, because I think he's on a tremendous run. I think his confidence must be through the roof. But this is really the best time for Joseph Parker. Like, I don't think there's going to be a better opportunity or a bigger opportunity for him with how he is within himself now. I think like the timing, physically, mentally, like almost like, I know it sounds a bit weird, but like his soul, do you know, like this just, the kind of, the law of timing, like when everything's perfect for you to go and do it. That's how I feel this is for Joe. Doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win, but he's put himself in the best possible chance to do it. And I think the first 6 rounds, if he gets through the first 6 rounds and he can manage to keep the pace nice and hot, I think he wins the fight. But Daniel may go to another level off the back of the AJ win. You know, he's a confidence fighter, and clearly his confidence right now is through the roof.
Your man, Dmitry Bivol, gets his shot of redemption against Beterbiev in the main event. From your conversations you've had with Dmitry this week, how is he mindset-wise?
Just chilled. I mean, I literally walked past him yesterday. I mean, he's like, when you deal with a fighter, everyone's different. Sometimes it's really good for me to sit down with a fighter for 15, 20 minutes on the fight day with a couple, just like drum in, you know, a little bit of belief and hype and support and backing. Dimitri's not that guy. Like, he's probably the most ice-cold fighter I've ever met. Look at when he fought Canelo and beat him. Wasn't even a big deal, really. Like, he just went in and done it with ease. And this is the same. Like, I've heard some sound bites that I really like, you know, like, doesn't just want the win, he wants revenge. I think there's a cold, dark side to Dmitry that's a lot, you know, that fire burns a lot harder inside than sometimes comes out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's ice cold on the outside, but inside, the fire's burning to win this fight. Because he's a competitor, he's a winner. And I believe he's going to win. And actually, as the fight draws closer, I actually think this is going to be a masterclass performance from Dmitry Bivol. I really do. Don't get me wrong, tough fight, dangerous fight, but I really feel like he's, you know, between the ears, ready to do something sensational on Saturday. I
know Benavidez is also going to be ringside, and obviously you've got the fight with Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi. There's a queue of fighters forming who want their world title shot at 175. But if your plan does come to fruition, Dmitry wins, do you expect them to run it back for a third time?
Yeah, probably. I mean, you've also got Canelo now has done a deal with Riyadh season. He's going to need opponents. You know, if he's fighting Skull and then Crawford, would he rematch Dmitry Bivol for the undisputed 175-pound championship? I mean, it's a hell of a fight, you know. But the key's just Saturday night. What will come after is all the legacy, all the respect, and all the huge fights. But you just got to win on Saturday. Talking of cool characters, another one is Israel Madrimov. We were in the gym with him last night. Sensational.
How do you see him beating?
I really feel that Israel looks different. You know, I feel like, yeah, people say, oh, was he really ill for the Pokacic fight? Yes, he had bronchitis. He had acute bronchitis. He was 100% ill. I've seen the doctor's reports. And it's funny, like, sometimes you can go through with that fight. And the mad thing is, if we hadn't have had the Ortiz fight locked in, we may have gone through with that fight at 50%, and he may have lost. And just the last couple of weeks, I've just seen Israel, like, just even on social media, his physique, like the way he's moving in training. And last night, when I saw him face to face, I don't know, just something different. I don't know whether it's the belief, you know, following the Crawford fight or just how good camp's gone, but he looks really ready. And I'm a big Ortiz fan. I love Robert Garcia. I just think this is, for me, this is probably my fight of the night. Ortiz Madrimov, along with Adames Shiraz. You know, and so many others as well. But like, I'm really intrigued by this fight, and I just think it's a very tough fight for Israel, tough fight for Beterbiev, but it's a brilliant style matchup, and I believe Israel will win the fight. Alan Minter, the only other Brit to have ever won that WBC World Middleweight title. Are you picking Hamza? It's a tough fight. I think, like you said yesterday, when you look at Carlos Adames, I think people are overlooking him a little bit. I don't represent Hamza Shiraz, so forget the hype, forget the... I guess sometimes the delusion that you have for your own fighter, because we do sometimes, you know, we just have that unwavering support for our team. I think Hamza Sheeraz is a great fighter. I also think he's a really, really nice bloke, and I really want him to win on Saturday. He can win, but I'm telling you now, he's an underdog in the fight. Like, Adames is a serious fighter. I'm not saying he's like a pound for pound great, but when I look at the resume of Hamza Sheeraz, you know, when they put up the last 5 fights, and listen, Ammo Williams is on there, one of our guys, and although, you know, it wasn't the greatest camp from Ammo, even Ammo to Carlos Adames, like, it's a big jump up in levels. And my worry for Hamza is he's never really boxed at that elite world level before. Like, who are the wins? You know, Tyler Denny,
Liam
Liam Williams, who was completely done. Ammo, you know, was a good win. And I rate Hamza massively, but I worry a little bit about the weight. You know, listen, I hope he does it. I'm gonna be cheering for him. Top man. He can do it, but he's an underdog in the fight. And if he wins, massive. WBC World Middleweight Champion. You know, good luck to him. I'll you know, not my fighter. I'll be screaming for him on Saturday night to do the business.
Callum Smith, Joshua Padley, 2 fighters you know so well. I was actually talking to Paul Smith about it earlier, and he was saying, look, if you put this in the Echo, it bangs it out. If you put this at Wembley Arena, it bangs it out. Incredibly, it's going to be the first fight of the night on Saturday, which tells you all about this card. When you think about both guys, what are the big questions?
I think they're both, you know, they're not at an unsimilar point in each other's career. Like, don't get me wrong, Josh is yet to achieve what he wants to achieve, but I feel like Boatsi's peaked, if I'm honest. Like, I feel like his better days were back, like, you know, even like around the Craig Richards fight, a little bit before then. I think he's gone backwards. He's still a really good fighter, but the thing is with Josh, as an individual, like, and you know, nice bloke, but I don't know where his head's at. Like, what do you want? Do you want greatness? Do you want money? Do you want, I don't know, like, I feel like he's stuck. I mean, with us many years ago, he had the world title shot, like he had that shot against Bivol, and it was never like, I didn't ever see that desire to take the challenge, you know? And since then, he's trod so much water. Sometimes you can like go backwards. And in a Willie Hutchinson fight, I just feel like if that Joshua Padley turns up on Saturday, he'll get stopped. But he's also a really good fighter, and that might have been a poor performance. He might rise to this test. And then you've got Callum Smith, who got stopped by Beterbiev. You know, fair enough. Like, it's not, you know, the biggest disgrace in the world. Comes back, gets a good win. What's he got left? And I think the answer is, this is the kind of fight that Callum Smith needed to return with fire. Because I don't think without a fight like this, I'm not sure, like, what's he got to do? He's won the World Championship, won the Ring Magazine. He's been really the linear champ at 168. Moved up, fought for the unified 175-pound titles. He's made a load of money, but he wants it still. And it's a really intriguing fight, 50-50 fight. But I back Callum Smith by stoppage between rounds 9 and 12. I just think Josh gets hit much too much, and if he gets hit by Callum Smith, it ain't like getting hit by Willie Hutchinson. And I thought he rocked him a few times in that fight. Just finally, is it almost a bit surreal being involved in fight weeks like this so regularly? We really are spoiled. Yeah, this is, I said the other day, like, if you're a fight fan, you may never experience another night like this. And if you're new to boxing, don't think you get this every week, please. Because this is once in a lifetime, Saturday night, honestly. I don't think we'll ever see anything like this again. And I just can't wait to sit there. And I keep saying to people, I've said to so many people that I know or I talk to, are fight fans, just make sure on Saturday, like, get yourself really comfy and just really enjoy this. Like, concentrate on what you're watching, because it's going to be, like I say, it's like a concert. The last crescendo. It's the ultimate fight night, and you're going to just sit there and just watch and it's like it's going to be drama, more drama, and at times you're going to be sitting there, I've still got 4 fights left. And then you're going to be like flabbergasted by the time Daniel Dubois fights Joseph Parker and Dmitry Bivol against Beterbiev is still to come. So enjoy it.
We can't wait. Top man, Eddie.